and Taiwan coming in the next.
So given that, do tariffs protect U.S. exceptionalism, or do they make the whole global situation more tenuous?
Yeah, I think this is an important debate to have. We are no longer running a massive surplus like we did going into the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. We're no longer attached to the gold standard, and this isn't the U.S. Pre-Smoot-Hawley. We are a massive trade deficit running country where we have the global store of value and the hegemonic currency. I actually think that tariffs now will act in a very different way than they acted in the past. And again, when you think about the rationale for tariffs, if you just think about the last time Trump engaged in tariffs, specifically on steel and aluminum, and if you remember, Biden ran on a platform of saying he'll immediately unwind those tariffs, and he never did. The reason he didn't is because China specifically is a state actor, and a state actor that is, let's just say, not one of our friends. And they can act uneconomically to put some of our industries out of business if that's what they decide to do. They can act in non-market terms. So when they start dumping steel or aluminum because they want to be the global, let's say, manufacturer of steel and aluminum, and they want us to rely on them for those things, this has to be something that the new president coming in must be thinking about tariffs from both a national security perspective and from a global trade perspective. So I think you're going to see tariffs act more positively this time than they have in the past.
Given your view of China and how outspoken you've been about TikTok, what do you make of President-elect Donald Trump's request to stay the decision to force TikTok to divest of its U.S. operations?
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court may decide this for him. I think, we hear oral arguments. I guess they begin January 10th and the deadline's January 19th. I read the appellate court ruling, and it was pretty unambiguous. It has nothing to do with free speech. It has everything to do with national security. And when you read that appellate court ruling, I can't imagine that the Supreme Court would flip that ruling. And I think that President Trump and his team this time got TikTok, let's just say, to play more fair in the election. And I think that is weighing on the thought processes.
Then how do you see that playing out in terms of, a realistic rollout, given how many users there are here in the United States, how many small businesses make their profits on TikTok?
I mean, again, this is a false equivalency. The court ruling happened almost a year ago, and they told TikTok USA. So when you think about TikTok globally, they do about $36 billion in revenue. TikTok USA does about $12 billion in revenue. TikTok USA, I hear their bids out there as high as $50 billion or more for it. So the U.S. court system has said, sell it to a U.S. company for the highest bid, or it's going to be turned off. So if your decision tree matrix was take 50 billion or more or take zero, the only tell in your decision is going to be if the Communist Party of China, who controls ByteDance, who controls TikTok, isn't willing to give up that algorithm that broadcasts directly into 100 million or more households in the United States without the FCC's regulation or without anyone overseeing it. I think the facts are what they are, and I think the decision tree matrix is 50 billion or zero. It's easy to make a decision that's value unlocking and continue this service for the people of the United States.
So given
China's playing a game of chicken here.
Given that that's your expectation, and you have a pretty clear expectation of how the Supreme Court is going to decide, and you talked about U.S. tech, how does this affect the way you might invest in Meta or Google, or perhaps a Microsoft, which expressed some interest the first time around in buying U.S. TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's an either or. I think it already exists today, John. So, when you think about this 12 billion in revenue is already being had by TikTok. Whoever the acquirer is, I think could actually unlock it. Clearly, the state of Texas, the U.S. government, U.S. military, there are plenty of people that are forbidden from using TikTok on any of their government devices because of its national security implications. So I think there are revenues to unlock here with a prospective buyer, and also the leadership in our country deciding to protect U.S. national security. It all makes a lot of sense. It's China the one playing chicken with TikTok.
All right. Kyle Bass from Heyman Capital Management. Good to see you.